Hey y'all, I've been up all night. I got about 2 hours of sleep yesterday evening, even before dark. I was flat wore out. I'm not sleeping good at all because I can't breathe when I lay down. So, in the last 24 hours, I think I had either 2 or 3 hours of sleep. I'm going to do this video. It is 5:35 a.m. right now, and as soon as I do it, I'm going to go try to sleep because I'm tired. Before I got ready to do the video, I changed from the shirt I had on yesterday in yesterday's videos, just so you would know I didn't do this video yesterday. Of course, I could have changed shirts yesterday, but this is, uh, I think Wednesday morning, 5:35 a.m. It's dark outside. See, can you see out there? It's dark. It's not yesterday. It's today. And as soon as I make this video, this shirt's coming off, and I'm going to try to get in bed. With my legs so swollen, I can't hardly bend them, and getting in and out of my bed is very hard. My bed sits way high up off the ground, off the floor, and it's hard just getting in and out of bed. And once I'm there, I can no longer sleep on my back like I normally did because I can't breathe sleeping on my back. It feels like a ton of bricks sitting on my chest. And so I'm sleeping on my side, either my left side or my right side, and I can breathe a little better that way, but it's still very difficult to breathe. I've got a friend, uh, the journalist that I told you about. I did a video several months ago. She was telling me I needed to look at the camera more when I'm doing my YouTube videos. I said, well, I can't look at the camera and read the Bible at the same time. So, but I try to look up occasionally. Uh, but anyway, she has had heart surgery, and she's a lot younger than me. She's like 20 years younger than me, or maybe more than that. She's probably in her mid to late 30s, and she's had heart surgeries, and she said the symptoms I've got now are exactly the symptoms that she had before she had surgery. And back in Texas, I was seeing a cardiologist. My regular doctor found out that I had one of the valves in my heart was not opening and closing when it's supposed to. And that journalist is sending me like message after message after message. I keep looking up because she keeps sending new messages that are showing up on my phone. But anyway, my doctor back in Texas found out one of the valves in my heart was not opening and closing as it was supposed to, and she sent me to a cardiologist, and he did every kind of test on my heart that there was. I think I spent a whole day in there getting tested, and it was some really weird, extensive testing done. But at the end, he said, yeah, I've got a heart valve that's not working right. And at that time, he said it was not hurting anything, but he said eventually that I would need surgery to fix that valve. And my doctor here has not said anything about that. I told her about that, about my doctor there finding out I had a heart problem and sending me to the cardiologist, and what the cardiologist said, exactly everything I just told you. My doctor here has not referred me to a cardiologist, and she has not said anything about surgery. She's trying to fix everything by medicine, and maybe it's helping now. I don't know. I do feel a little better now than I have the last few days. And I started the new medicine that she put me on late yesterday, uh, before dark. I don't remember the time, probably around 3 or 4 in the evening yesterday. And I am feeling better now. It's been 12 hours or so since I started the new medicine, but I still cannot breathe like I'm supposed to. And my chest feels like there's a ton of bricks sitting on it. It's just, it hurts. And my chest never hurt before. But anyway, let me get started here. We started Second Chronicles yesterday, so I'm picking up this morning in chapter 3. And these chapters are not real long, so I'm going to try to do 3 of them if I can breathe long enough. Let me get a drink of water here real quick. I got a drink before I turned the camera on, and then I started flapping my jaws a lot, and I got thirsty again. so here we go, my friends. Then Solomon began to build a house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the things wherein Solomon was instructed for the building of the house of God. The length by cubits after the first measure was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. And the porch that was in the front of the house, the length of it was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits. And the height was 120, and he overlaid it with pure gold. And the greater house he sealed with fir tree, and which he had overlaid with fine gold, and set thereon palm trees and chains. And he garnished the house with precious stones for beauty, and the gold was gold of Parvaim. He overlaid also the house, the beams, the posts, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and graved cherubims on the wall. And he made the most holy house, the length whereof was according to the breadth of the house, 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits. And he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. And the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. And he overlaid the upper chambers with gold. And in the most holy house he made 2 cherubims of image work, and overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubims were 20 cubits long. One wing of the one cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house, and the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching to the wing of the other cherub. And one wing of the other cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house, and the other wing was 5 cubits also, joining to the wing of the other cherub. The wings of these cherubs spread themselves forth 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet, and their faces were inward. And he made the veil of blue and purple and crimson and fine linen, and wrought cherubs thereon. Also he made before the house 2 pillars of 30 and 5 cubits high, and the chapiter that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. And he made chains as in the oracle, and put them on the heads of the pillars, and made 100 pomegranates, and put them on the chains. And he reared up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left, and called the name of that on the right hand Jachin, and the name of that on the left Boaz. Chapter 4. Moreover, he made an altar of brass, 20 cubits the length thereof, and 20 cubits the breadth thereof, and 10 cubits the height thereof. Also he made a molten sea of 10 cubits from brim to brim, round in compass, and 5 cubits the height thereof, and a line of 30 cubits did compass it round about, and under it was the similitude of oxen, which did compass it round about 10 in a cubit, compassing the sea round about. 2 rows of oxen were cast when it was cast. It stood upon 12 oxen, 3 looking toward the north, and 3 looking toward the west, and 3 looking toward the south, and 3 looking toward the east. And the sea was set above upon them, and all their hinder parts were inward. And the thickness of it was an hand breadth, and the brim of it like the work of the brim of a cup, with flowers of lilies, and it received and held 3,000 baths. He made also 10 lavers, and put 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left, to wash in them such things as they offered for the burnt offerings. They washed in them, but the sea was for the priest to wash in. And he made 10 candlesticks of gold according to their form, and set them in the temple, 5 on the right hand and 5 on the left. He made also 10 tables, and placed them in the temple, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left. And he made 100 basins of gold. Furthermore, he made the court of the priest, and the great court, and the doors for the court, and overlaid the doors of them with brass. And he set the sea on the right side of the east end over against the south. And Huram made the pots and the shovels and the basins, and Huram finished the work that he was to make for King Solomon for the house of God, to wit, the 2 pillars and the pommels and the chapiters which were on top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 wreaths to cover the 2 pommels of the chapiters which were on the top of the pillars, and 400 pomegranates on the 2 wreaths, 2 rows of pomegranates on each wreath to cover the 2 pommels of the chapiters which were upon the pillars. And he also made bases, and lavers made he upon the bases, 1 sea and 12 oxen under it. The pots also, and the shovels, and the flesh hooks, and all their instruments did Huram his father make to King Solomon for the house of the Lord of bright brass. In the plain of Jordan did the king cast them in the clay ground between Succoth and Zeradatha. Thus Solomon made all these vessels in great abundance, for the weight of the brass could not be found out. And Solomon made all the vessels that were for the house of God, the golden altar also, and the tables whereon the showbread was set. Moreover, the candlesticks with their lamps, that they should burn after the manner before the oracle of pure gold. And the flowers and the lamps and the tongs made he of gold, and that perfect gold. And the snuffers and the basins and the spoons and the censers of pure gold. And the entry of the house, the inner doors thereof for the most holy place, and the doors of the house of the temple were of gold. Chapter 5. Thus all the work that Solomon made for the house of the Lord was finished, and Solomon brought all the things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver and the gold, and all the instruments put he among the treasures of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel, and the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion. Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast which was in the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark And they brought up the ark and the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle. These did the priest and the Levites bring up. And King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him before the ark sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priest, oh man, excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of the Lord unto his place, to the oracle of the house, into the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, that the ends of the staves were seen from the ark before the oracle, but they were not seen without. And there it is unto this day. There was nothing in the ark save the 2 tables which Moses put there in Horeb, when the Lord made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. And it came to pass, when the priests were come out of the holy place, for all the priests that were present were sanctified, and did not then wait by course. And the Levites, which were the singers, all of them of Asaph, of Heman, and Jeduthun, with their sons and their brethren, being arrayed in white linen, having cymbals and psalteries and harps, stood at the east end of the altar, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets. It came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking the Lord. And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music, and praised the Lord, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Then the house was filled with a cloud, even the house of the Lord, so that the priest could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord had filled the house of God. Bam, y'all. How about that for an ending of today's reading? The glory of the Lord had filled the house of God. Bam. That's some good stuff right there, y'all. All right, I'm done for this morning. And if the good Lord's willing, I'll be back this evening with more. So y'all have a good day. And y'all on the other side of the world, y'all get some good rest. I pray you all sleep good and get good rest. All right, and y'all on this side of the world, behave. Serve the Lord. Share Jesus. The world needs Jesus. And it's up to us to share him with the world. So let's get busy, y'all. Love y'all. Adios.